How are the firstborn males among Israel to be redeemed? This is the question that we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of Numbers on Walking Through the Bible. If you have a Bible with you, turn to Numbers chapter 3. We're going to be reading from verses 40 to 51. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, Numbers chapter 3, beginning at verse 40. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Number all the firstborn males of the children of Israel from a month old and above, and take the number of their names. And you shall take the Levites for me, I am the Lord, instead of all the firstborn among the children of Israel, and the livestock of the Levites instead of all the firstborn among the livestock of the children of Israel." So Moses numbered all the firstborn among the children of Israel, as the Lord commanded him. And all the firstborn males, according to the number of names, and from a month old and above, of those who were numbered of them, were 22,273. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Take the Levites instead of all the firstborn among the children of Israel, and the livestock of the Levites instead of their livestock. The Levites shall be mine, I am the Lord. And for the redemption of the 273 of the firstborn of the children of Israel, who are more than the number of the Levites, you shall take 5 shekels for each one individually. You shall take them in the currency of the shekel of the sanctuary, the shekel of 20 gerahs. And you shall give the money with which the excess number of them is redeemed to Aaron and his sons." So Moses took the redemption money from those who were over and above those who were redeemed by the Levites. From the firstborn of the children of Israel he took the money, 1,365 shekels, according to the shekel of the sanctuary. And Moses gave their redemption money to Aaron and his sons, according to the word of the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. In this chapter we have seen the census of the Levites, as well as the duties of each family of the Levites concerning the tabernacle. Only the house of Aaron would serve as priests, but especially when the children of Israel were in the wilderness, there was plenty to do in the service of the tabernacle, that each family of the Levites were responsible for it. Coming down to verse 40, we find that next Moses was to number all the firstborn males of the children of Israel who were 1 month old and above. Now this census was a different census from chapter 1, since it would also include children, but would exclude children who were not firstborn. From the language used in the text and from the numbers that we will see also, it would appear that if a family had a daughter first, then no males would be included for that family. How do we draw this conclusion from the language itself? Well, if we go back to Exodus 13, we find this law spelled out there too. Let's read verses 1 and 2 and then skip down to verses 11 to 13. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Consecrate me all the firstborn, whatever opens the womb among the children of Israel, both of man and beast, it is mine." Skipping down to verse 11. "And it shall be, when the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, as he swore to you and your fathers, and gives it to you, that you shall set apart to the Lord all that opens the womb, that is, every firstborn that comes from an animal which you have, the males shall be the Lord's. But every firstborn of a donkey you shall redeem with a lamb. And if you will not redeem it, then you shall break its neck. And all the firstborn of man among your sons you shall redeem." We really didn't discuss all of the ramifications of this passage in our study of Exodus, and I apologize for that on my part. But from verses 1 and 2, all firstborns, both male and female, were consecrated to God. We know that because of the phrase, "opens the womb." Although every child opens the womb, the firstborn opens the womb for the first time, which is what is under consideration here. However, even with this being true, according to verses 11 to 13, only the firstborn males were selected for service to God, and it is only them that had to be redeemed. It is specifically that redemption and its price that are under consideration here. But it should also be evident that this is what is being talked about by the number of firstborn males that were counted in Numbers 3. Remember, there were 603,500 men of war from Numbers 1, yet there were only 22,273 firstborn males among all Israel, a number that included even males not in the count of Numbers 1. That suggests that only if a family had a firstborn son were they included in this census, and required to redeem them from the service to the Lord. The females were consecrated to God just like the males were, but did not need to be redeemed because they were not selected for service to God. Having dealt with this issue, the question then is, why specifically did God have Moses take the census? Because at this specific time, God was going to substitute the redemption required for the male firstborn for his selection of the Levites. Recall from earlier in the chapter that there were 22,000 male Levites over the age of 1 month old. Verse 43 said that among the rest of Israel there were 22,273 firstborn males that would normally have needed to be redeemed from the service of the Lord. Therefore, what God was going to do is, because he selected the Levites for his service instead of the firstborn sons of all Israel, that the number of firstborn sons among Israel equal to the number of Levites selected would not need to be redeemed, while the remainder would still need to be redeemed. The remainder in this case being 273. The redemption price was 5 shekels, each according to the shekel of the sanctuary. Thus, the sum that Moses collected was 1,365 shekels. How did Moses determine which of the firstborns would fall into the remainder and which wouldn't? I don't know, and the text doesn't say, but needless to say, Moses was up to the task, and the amount was paid and given to Aaron and his sons for their use. This is the only time this was done, as we'll see when we get to Numbers 18. From here on out, all male firstborn among Israel needed to be redeemed, and the redemption price was 5 shekels of silver, according to Numbers 18. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Numbers chapter 4, verses 1 to 10, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.